Hey guys, we're back with another Mage Tower Challenge video. This time we're doing the Guardian Druid. I tried this on the Protection Warrior and it just did not work out. I was having no luck with it. So I decided to do the Guardian Druid. I had to also do the Healing Challenge, which I did on the Resto Druid. So I decided to boost a really low level Druid that I had. Um, so I would kind of get two birds with one stone with that. For this challenge, I pretty much just used the gear that it gave me, except for a couple pieces I replaced, just so I could get the stats that I wanted out of it. I did use the heirloom trinket that we got pre-Dragonflight in the pre-patch. Um, as far as the other stuff, it's mainly stuff that I was given. It was all 180 gear. You can see I'm still level 60 when I did it. But everything pretty much I'm standard enchants. I just went for crit, plains, runner, breeze right there to get some speed. And everything is pretty much crit haste. Put Shadow Core Oil, didn't even enchant the weapon. Waking stats on the chest, leech on the cloak, and that's pretty much it. If you're struggling with it, I would definitely recommend doing the Druid. I found it to be way easier than the Prot Warrior. I was doing on the Prot Warrior and I was raging, and I'm glad that I moved over to the Guardian Druid. A lot easier. Um, there you can see my stats. Nothing spectacular, just high crit, high haste, a little bit of leech. Um, since I'm not a 70, I didn't have the ability to get more talents. So you can do it just with this. I may put a picture up to show what a standard build for a level 70 could be, but you can essentially just use this and get it done. In cap roar, pretty big one that you need to get. That's going to be useful for the ads and even the main boss if you need to interrupt um, some of his casts that we'll talk about. The other main things in the Guardian tree that are big, I'll go over right here. Elun's Favored, that's definitely a must. In bear form, you deal 10% increased arcane damage and are healed for 30% of all arcane damage. That's all the damage essentially we're doing in this fight is arcane damage. Scintillating Moonlight reduces damage dealt to you by 10% when you have Moonfire on the target. Definitely a must. And Moonfire deals 10% increased damage and also hits another nearby enemy within 15 yards. Everybody's going to be on top of you, so casting Moonfire, you want to spread it as much as possible to other mobs. And then you also want to pick up Fury of Nature. While in bear form, you deal 20% increased arcane damage. So those are must picks. As far as the consumables go, I'm pretty much use the same thing on most of the classes. McDowell's Big Mech gives you a decent amount of critical strike chance. I like that one. It's real cheap. It's 1 gold or so per, so you can definitely load up on those. I get this Battle Scarred Augment Rune. It's the cheapest, and it gives good stats. Shadow Core Oil. You definitely want to put that on your weapon, get some extra shadow damage. And then I didn't show it in this video, but this, I'll put it up on the screen. I'll put the name of it. This one gives damage. You can pop it just like a potion, and it essentially gives you damage, and it increases if you have Shadow Core Oil on your weapon. So we did Shadow Core Oil. You can use Flask of Power if they're cheaper. Potion of Unbridled Fury does fire damage for 1 minute, but I used the Flask of Currents, give me some agility. seem to work pretty good. So as far as the damage breakdown, you can see it's definitely heavily focused on Moonfire. Potion of Unbridled Fury did a decent amount of damage. All the other stuff's pretty good damage, but that's mainly trying to deal with the mobs, not necessarily your main damage output. It's all going to be Moonfire. You can see our trinket down here didn't do much, but it's a little bit. All the other stuff is kind of dealing with the mobs and things of that nature. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the actual fight video. And I do want to preface this by I messed up in OBS by recording the scene rather than a game capture. So there's going to be points where it's lagging when there's a lot of stuff going on. It wasn't doing that while I was in the fight, but for some reason the recording just kind of lagged and stuff because I was in the wrong scene. So I apologize for that, but you can still get a pretty good gist of what's going on. But yeah, let's jump over to that and check out the fight. Alright, so getting into the fight, essentially the main thing we got is Varus needs to get to 0%, and that's going to bring down Kruul, who's going to start with 33% health, and you need to get him down to 0%. And that's going to be completion of the challenge. Some people will start this where they just rush in and do a bunch of melee. They'll pop all their CDs to get Varus down. I opt for saving our Unbridled Fury, our drums, and everything for Kruul. Because as you've seen in the intro to this video, all my damage is from Moonfire, so it's all spell damage from outside. So I opt to just hang out, cast spells on Varus. The only time I ever go in, which you'll see, is to kick Drain Life. While I'm in there, I'll put on my melee abilities, my bleeds and stuff, and then jump out. So I would just hang out, cast Moonfire, and deal with the other mechanics, which we'll go over as it happens. So we get Moonfire on him. Apparently I forgot to put Shadow Core oil on him. One thing I do want to say is Prophet Valen, he's a pretty shit healer, but he's supposed to heal you, so don't expect much there. Bloodthorn doesn't help you in this stage. She's in like a fell prison. It's weird that Drain Life happens so quick, but usually it happens around 90% or 92% on most of the pulls I did, but we're going to go ahead and kick that and go in and do our melee abilities. We're going to dot this Tormenting Eye and get that rolling. Typically the Moonfire, I'd cast it a couple times and that'll kill the Tormenting Eye. If it doesn't, it casts Inquisitive Stare and it attaches this green line to you. You need to be looking at the Tormenting Eye. I'm not sure how it identifies you looking at it. There's been times where I've kind of been off-center to it and it doesn't pick it up. And if it finishes that cast while it's on you, it does a knockback. Most times it'll knock you off the map. So just make sure that you have it dead center in your screen and you're focused pretty much on the Tormenting Eye if you can't kill it before it completes that cast. Since Varus casted Drain Life, I went ahead and kicked that, and I'm staying in here to, do my melee abilities. It's going to put on Aura of Decay on you. I typically don't take it over about 5 or so. The more stacks of Aura of Decay you get, the more damage that Varus is going to do to you with this Mind Rend ability. So the higher stacks, more damage. I mean, you get close to getting one shot, or does significant damage when it's really not needed. The only time you should really be in here is to kick Drain Life, put some dots on, get your 3 stacks or whatever, and just get out. That damage that you get from 3 stacks is not much. So, most of our damage is coming from Moonfire, so there's no reason to be in here doing this. So, just put your bleeds on and do some damage. get 3 or 4 stacks and get out. We're going to go ahead and dot up these nether whores. Make sure that you dot at least one of them. I try to do 2 of them. If you do not touch them, they'll go straight to Prophet Valen, and with the ability that you'll see that they do coming up, they'll kill him pretty quickly. So make sure you dot them and bring them over to you. Get all your Moonfires out. So they're going to do this Nether Storm here. If we back up just a little bit, maybe. They're going to do this Nether Storm ability. I believe you can in-cap roar it here and they won't recast it. I had luck with pretty much both ways. If I in-cap roar here, they don't, immediately recast after they come off the in-cap roar. So you can do that, or wait until they start to cast it and then in-cap roar. But you do not want to let them just free cast and get the actual cast off. It does this AoE damage ability at their feet that does significant damage. So I would save your in-cap roar for these guys. Only kick drain life with your kick, and you should be pretty good. Do your melee abilities on them, get them down, and now we're going to go in, since we had to kick drain life, and we're going to do our melee abilities. And we're going to just do as much damage as possible. We got 4 stacks, so we're going to get out. And now we're going to get a Infernal. So they have 2 abilities. If you're standing really close to them, they do this AoE ability at their feet. And that is essentially just going to do AoE damage to you. And it's pretty decently hard hitting. I tend to try to kite them as much as possible. The one thing you'll run into is if you keep them on Varus, when you go in to kick drain life, you're running the risk also when you're close to them that they're going to do that smash ability, which you'll see at some point in this. It leaves this smoky texture on the ground. If you get hit by that, same thing as a Tormenting Eye, it'll knock you off the map. You can combat that by using charge, or worst case scenario, using your kick, because it does a little bit of a charge ability. I wouldn't use your kick because you'll be in a situation where you use your kick to not get knocked off of the map, and then Varus will cast Drain Life, and then you either got to use in-cap roar, or, it just starts getting out of hand real quick. The main thing is you need to develop a little bit of a rotation, so Drain Life is only going to get kicked. Infernals, we're never going to interrupt or do anything with them. We're just casting Moonfire, kiting them around the room. Tormenting Eyes, we're Moonfiring them. The little nether guys that come out, we're in-cap roaring them. We're not kicking any of their stuff. One of the other things I want to mention while we're standing here is Valen will drop these little orbs here. I think he drops 4 before the final phase starts. If you run into this, it will heal you to full health, and it will stun every mob that's on the island. I would refrain from using any of those until the final phase against Kruul. Unless you are really close and you want to get into the final phase and things are just getting out of hand, you can use one. I think he drops 1, maybe 2 while Kruul's out. But I would try to stay away from using those at all possible, if at all possible. So we're just going to make sure our Moonfire's still up, and Nether Horrors are coming back out. We're going to dot them up, and we're going to get those over to the side. We're going to kick Drain Life. They're casting Nether Storm, and again, I recorded this on the wrong scene. It wasn't game capture, it was just scene. So I apologize for the choppiness. It happens pretty much for the rest of the fight because there's so much going on. So you can still get a gist of what's going on, but it's just aesthetically just kind of sucks ass, but so it's rinse and repeat pretty much. You're going to get Tormenting Eyes randomly throughout this phase. You're going to get some Infernals in. Right now we're going to try to take down the stair. I kind of messed up a little bit here because I was doing my melee abilities and he was obviously getting ready to do Drain Life, so my Aura of Decay didn't drop off before I ran back in to kick that, so I picked up another stack. So I had to kick that real quick and get out. And essentially this is pretty much all that you got to manage. Just make sure that you get the Nether Horrors, dot them up with Moonfire, get them over here, do your melee abilities, in-cap Roar the Nether Storm, kill them, get in, take care of Drain Life, get out quickly so you're not taking too much damage. That one landed right on me. And he immediately casted Shockwave. It's just kind of unlucky. There's the stuff on the ground for the Shockwave. We got another interrupt. So interrupt Drain Life, get out, bring these guys out, hit them with Moonfire, in-cap Roar again, get them down, another Tormenting Eye up. This kind of worked out pretty good because the Smoldering Infernal is about to die with Varus. Another one will spawn really quick when you transition into the Kruul phase, so I try to go into the Kruul phase with just one Infernal alive or close to being dead when you're going into it. You don't want to have like 3 of these dudes walking around. It just makes it too hectic. But you can see we got 4 orbs out, which we're going to need them. So now here we're going to pop everything. We're going to do our Unbridled Fury. We're hitting drums. And we're going to dot up High Lord Kruul and do as much damage as possible. So in this phase, the things that you need to focus on are these are going to happen the entire time. They don't do any damage to you, but they're going to shove you across the map. If you get tangled up in 2 of them, you could get in this little crease here, and it's not too bad. You could just run back out of it, but it's going to shove you into your orbs and stuff. So I try as best as possible to be close enough to where if I get in trouble, I can get an orb, but far enough away that one of these purple lines isn't going to shove me into it. It's called Shadow Sweep. So it's not going to sweep me into my orbs here. So this is good because we don't have an Infernal up right quite this second. And there he spawned. So what we're going to have going on here is I'm going to post on the screen the macros that I used for this. He's going to cast Annihilate, and that's his big offensive ability. So you can see he's dropping the stuff on the ground right here. It's going to slow you and do damage to you, so you need to get out immediately. And his Annihilate's going to do massive damage to you, where you have to use defensives for each time. So if you can see down here, I have these staggered 1, 2, 3, and I essentially just made it for the first Annihilate cast, the second Annihilate cast, the third one, and so I knew, okay, this is the first cast, we're using 1. Oh, this is the second cast, we're using 2. Up, third, 3. And it's essentially just Ironfur is the first one. You can survive this Annihilate with Ironfur. The next one, I think I popped Barkskin Ironfur. That'll get you through the second one. The third one, it's like Ironfur and Survival Instincts because Barkskin's not back up. And the next one's all of them. It's Ironfur, Survival Instincts, and Barkskin. If you get past that point and the boss isn't dead, then I don't know, you just cast another Ironfur, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think it just pretty much kills you. So we need to stagger our defensives. Don't pop everything for the first Annihilate because you're not going to survive the next ones. The only way that you could get away with it is using the orbs on the ground, and that will interrupt his cast of Annihilate, but I think he will do it again immediately. And plus, you don't want to waste your orbs canceling the Annihilate because you're probably going to need them at some point to heal yourself, so it's not good to use them as CC.
Defensive.
So after he gets done with Annihilate, he's going to go straight into Twisted Reflection. You need to kick this immediately. Don't let him get the cast off, because he will heal up, essentially, and you're probably not going to overcome it. I think you can get rid of Twisted Reflection if he gets the cast off and he starts healing. If you grab an orb, it will stop it. It's not like a channeled ability, it just puts an aura on him that causes him to heal, and I think those orbs take it off. But just don't let him get the cast off. So save your kick for this. Don't use it at all for anything else. So we're going to kick that. And we're just going to kite him around a room. Now our nether horrors are coming back out. We're going to make sure that we tag them so they don't go to the Prophet Valen. And we're going to get them on us. We're going to stay away from the Infernal because of the... Dude, this recording sucks. We're going to in-cap Roar, and I kind of doubled up on that, unfortunately, but they're doing Nether Storm, so I'm trying to get him down quickly. We want to stay away from the Infernal because he's doing his knockback stuff, he's doing his AoE stuff, and here it got a little dicey because it was pushing me into that stuff and killing me and into the Infernal, and so they got stunned. I'm trying to get them back outside, and then it's just rinse and repeat. We're dotting up the horrors, we're in-cap roaring that, and we're getting them down. Yep, he's getting ready to cast Annihilate, so we're Survival Instincts, I think, Ironfur, and another Shockwave. We're interrupting Twisted Reflection. I'm healing back up. Hopefully we can get that Infernal down too. We got more Nether Horrors, and it's just rinse and repeat. Doing damage to them, in-cap roar them, pop another defensive for that. I start getting wigged out, so I grab another orb, or try to at least. So we stun everybody. Stay out of the way of Shockwave. We're going to pick up these Nether Horrors again. And I'm trying to get back to the middle so I can grab that because I know Kruul is low. So I know I can't survive another Annihilate. So I cast all my stuff. And this kind of shows. That sucks that this is so choppy. It's stupid. That you can beat the challenge. Being dead. As long as they don't rock Valen or Corvus. So I knew that I was low, so I just hit him with another Moonfire and died because I didn't have any other defensives. So, yeah, that's pretty much the fight. It's a little hectic, but you get kind of a rhythm going and you'll kind of figure out what you need to do, but hopefully this kind of helps you a little bit. It's definitely Moonfire dependent, and I think just, learning, okay, I can dot this, I can pull these over, here's when I need to use my kick, here's when I need to use in-cap